Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel Animate Orange, and welcome to another 3D metal model news video. Been going bi-weekly here lately instead of every week because, well, for one, news has been a little bit slower, and for two, it's more difficult for me to find time to do this with me working full-time and working every other weekend. So a little bit easier doing it on the weekends that I'm off. I've been up all night. I'm recording this first thing in the morning. Try to get it edited in a nap. Anyway, this 3D metal model news, just a few things from Metal Earth / Fascinations. Nothing new has shown up on their website, but a newsletter came out since last news video, and it had a preview of a Kawasaki Jet Ski Ultra 310LX. Basically a jet ski. Really cool, colorful looking model. I believe a few people at least are excited about it. Probably a lot of people are excited about it. And it looked somewhat familiar. It took me a bit to click in my head. I've kind of seen this before. I've seen this concept or idea of a jet ski before. And where I have seen this before is a little over a year ago, January-ish of 2020, Metal Earth, some people from Metal Earth had attended a toy fair, back right before we started to have COVID descend upon the United States. And there were several models of pictures that I shared, a few other people shared. There was even some pictures from a toy fair in Germany. And I don't remember if I shared this one in particular, but there was a jet ski model shown in the New York Toy Fair. I did receive a picture of it, but I can't remember if I was asked not to share it. Or if I was asked not to share it and I didn't, or if I shared it and then was asked. But I do seem to remember being asked to please not share that one because it wasn't anywhere near a finished model. Anyway, I'm going to point you to a post on CodeWookie's page, MetalEarthBuilder.com, because he explains it a little bit more. But simply put, there was a prototype jet ski at the New York Toy Fair back in 2020, very beginning of 2020, before 2020 completely caught on fire. And they had a jet ski there. It wasn't a finished model, it was a concept. And that's one of the things that I understand they do at toy fairs. They bring out concepts to see what kind of response they get to it. So we're talking a concept that was out well over a year ago that's been refined into what we have now. I'll put a link in the description below to CodeWookie's page where he kind of explains a little bit more of what I'm getting at here. But interesting little piece of how a step of the evolution of these models. Sometimes things will show up at a toy fair very early, very different. You can see the two pictures. Obviously the prototype was silver. Another thing is the wave stand, the optional wave stand. I almost forgot to mention that. The preview in the Metal Earth newsletter mentions an optional wave / stand, and that's pretty cool. And it's a bit different looking than the original. The original concept was not all of that interesting looking, but again, it was a concept. I'm not trying to insult anybody, and it wasn't the best of pictures. But anyway, that is a lot about a newsletter right there. There was a contest. It's too late to even talk about it because the deadline has come and gone, unfortunately. A lot of times those come out with barely enough time for me to talk about them anyway, but the deadline's come and gone, so we're not even going to get into that. Otherwise, in Metal Earth or Fascinations news, again, nothing is shown up on their page, but a couple new Disney exclusive models have surfaced on the Metal Earth subreddit, and I just wanted to briefly talk about those. The one that has been the most talked about is a in-color Haunted Mansion model. And Haunted Mansion is one of the earlier Disney exclusive models that came out along with the castles and whatnot. And I've built it. I've got it back here behind me somewhere. A lot of people complained about it being a difficult build and it just kind of not fitting together. And I speculated that that might have been because it's a Haunted Mansion. I've never been to any of the Disney parks, and maybe the building itself was meant to be a little awkward and kind of shaky looking, and that's why the model was the way it was. And I know there were two different posts, and one of the posts was somebody found this model on, I want to say eBay maybe, or found pictures of it, and they posted about it, and there were people asking, do you know if they've corrected the issues that we had with the silver model? because, again, a lot of people had problems putting it together. Now, whether or not that was intentional or bad design, I don't know, and no one's really said. There is another post. Well, the original post, I can't give you a username because the username has since been deleted, but the post is still there. There will be a link to that down below. And then we have Travis Cat, who posted shortly after that. They found the model. They apparently live near Disney World, Disneyland, Florida, and they found the model either there or mail order. I really don't know, because I think they had some trouble finding it in person. But they found it, they built it, they posted about the build, and there's a little bit, I didn't read all the comments, there's a little bit of a description of, wasn't a difficult build. They really didn't touch on how well it fit together. There was some talk about the weather vane being off, because east is across from south or north, which is not how that works. Anyway, links to that as well if you want to check that out for yourself and learn a little bit more about it. And honestly, if you just go to eBay and do a Google search for Disney Metal Earth, you'll find these models. I saw both this one and the one I'm about to talk about listed fairly high in the search. The other model that I saw was a DO exclusive, like a Droid Depot DO, and DO is a little like one-wheeled little triangular head droid from the last of the Star Wars movies, and didn't get a whole lot of attention. There is a regular model of him. No one's built it that I know of. No one's built it and shared the Disney Droid Depot exclusive, but it appears to be the same model, just with a different square stand that says Droid Depot rather than the round one that it originally came on. But, you know, I'll put a link to that post down below where you can read the few comments that go with that. And maybe some more information will come to light, but it's no big surprise there's something else new. And, you know, they take these models and they make small changes and include it and make it a Disney exclusive. And sometimes that's kind of annoying. But anyway, that pretty much sums up all of the Metal Earth stuff. Nothing new on their website, but several other things happening outside of that. Looking over at Peace School and MU's website, I check them out regularly. I didn't see anything new, except the Peace School website, it never fully loaded, but it kind of looked like they may be changing the layout of the website, but it still had the same models on it I saw like 2-3 weeks ago. So I didn't see anything new there. I looked around AliExpress, and of all the different stores I have favorited, the only thing I saw new was a Microworld Guan Yu Warrior, I believe is how you say it, and it's a very interesting, like green and yellow and black and blue, very colorful looking warrior with a broad pose and like some flags on the back. I'm actually kind of interested in it, and of course I'm going to put a picture up. It was only found on one AliExpress store, the Funny Model store. I didn't see it on any others, but it's model number R011 or R011, stainless steel. Finish size, I believe, is 29 by 22.5 by 29 centimeters. It gave me that size, but it didn't say finish size. I'm assuming that's what they're referring to. Color model, 5 sheets, 279 pieces, 8-star difficulty, and it does appear, I didn't read this, but it does appear in the pictures that that kind of collection of flags that's on the back of the warrior can be removed easily, so you can display it with or without. It kind of gives the impression that you could just, like maybe a magnet or something, you can kind of pop it on or hook it on easily. It's not like you have the choice to assemble it one of two ways. You can just kind of switch it out, I think. Not for sure, but the pictures make it look that way. But again, links in the description down below if you want to check that model out for yourself. I didn't do a specific search for that model in other stores, but I did check out all the favorited stores that I usually check out, and there's a list of them, and none of the rest had any new models, including none of the rest of them had the Guan Yu Warrior, if I'm saying that correctly. But it's an interesting color scheme. For whatever reason, the color scheme makes me think raver. Like, you know, old school music, flashing lights, raving. It's like my twisted, bad, dry humor brain thought, this is a raver warrior. Anyway, that is all the new models that I have for you this week, this 2 weeks. Kind of makes a little more sense now that I've waited 2 weeks to make an update if that's all I've got. But I do a couple more things outside of models that I do, well, related to models, not new models. But one of the things, kind of the topic of the week, or the question of the week, I picked a question that was asked within the past few days by and I may or may not be saying this name correctly because there's some odd punctuation that I'm not familiar with. Sando asks an interesting question, and I want to turn this question to my viewers because Metal Earth community is so wonderful and helpful, and I feel like there are plenty of people out there that have a better answer than myself. But Sando asks, thank you so much for making weekly news videos. Can you suggest me some metal models with high difficulty level and the number of pieces from 2 to 300 on the theme of world architecture? Thanks if you reply to my comment. Well, I'm going to do you one better. I'm not just going to reply to your comment. I'm going to put it as a question in this video to everyone out there, because I know there are people that are way more into the architecture than I am. If you haven't noticed, 90% of what I have done, if not 98% of what I have done, is Metal Earth. A few MU models, Picture Kingdom here, or Microworld there, Peace Cool there. Not strayed very far out of that. No particular reason. There's so much to build, and the Metal Earth is easy to get. I think the most complicated architectural model I have done is like a Microworld St. Basil's Cathedral, I think it was. And it is this wonderful gold model right here. And it was a fairly complicated and challenging model. And not just because of the amount of parts. I need dust. Not just the amount of parts, the difficulty putting together, but the instructions kind of sucked a little bit. There's a whole video about that, of course. But I know there is some really complicated stuff. I don't remember how many pieces that has. But I know there's a lot of amazing architectural models out there outside of Metal Earth. Metal Earth has some good stuff, but I don't think theirs get very high piece counts and very complicated. I could be wrong, but I am fairly certain there are a ton of other brands out there that make a lot of interesting architectural models. And please, somebody give us some suggestions. Give Sando some suggestions on some 2 to 300 pieces, more complicated models for them to build. Something very challenging. Please leave it in the comments down below. Hopefully Sando will see this video and read those comments. But I will also, in a couple of weeks when I make the next video, try to remember to come back and mention some of those, because I too am curious. I never, I may have told this story, a part of this story before. The thing that pulled me into doing these models was Star Wars. And beyond that, it was the geeky stuff, is how I like to call it. Star Wars, Star Trek, Transformers, the comic stuff, the Batman, the Marvel, Mass Effect. I've got Mass Effect 3. I kind of bought it late, and I've sort of played it, didn't really get into it. I actually did tech support for the original Halo back in the day when it was it was PC, and I think it's far more popularly known to be like an Xbox game, but PC version too, at least in the beginning. And I did tech support for Halo, Train Simulator, Zoo Tycoon 2 had just come out, Rise of Nations, Age of Mythology, and Freelancer. I loved Freelancer. No one else cared for Freelancer. I loved Freelancer. But anyway, I played the original Halo on like easy mode all the way through and just never picked it up again. But I picked up the Halo models. I picked up the Mass Effects models because it was the geeky stuff. It was the the technology, the ships, that kind of stuff that I was into. And I wasn't that into the cars or the architecture or the insects. But as the channel grew, because I was recording the builds of these and sharing it. But as the channel grew and people started requesting stuff, and I was, still a young channel and very much, yeah, you want me to build something? I'll give it a shot. I'm open. Let's try this. There was an architectural model that really changed my mind on building architectural models. I had no interest in it in the beginning, but one of the Japanese models, Japanese architectural models, not Kenkaku-ji, but there was another one. I see it in my head, but I can't think of the name of it. What are you doing, Brad? You've got technology in your hand. Look it up real quick. It is the Himeji Castle, if I'm saying that right. It's up there somewhere. I thought about getting it down, but no. You can if you don't know what that is, Google it. It is a really neat, I believe, Japanese castle, and somebody requested me to build it, and I'm like, sure, I will do that, no problem. Something different, something new, get me outside of my zone. I want to say comfort zone, but my favorite zone. And I'm so glad that they did. I'm so glad that they requested it, because I loved that model, and it really opened my eyes to look at architecture and go, hey, you know what, this is something different. It's not what gets you super excited, but it's still really cool. And that was kind of something that changed my outlook, that opened me up to wanting to do more models. And it also made me realize, I'm building all these sci-fi things and these fantasy things, and they don't exist in the real world unless somebody's like made a replica of it. But it's not something that existed in the real world until somebody dreamed it up. You know what I mean? But the Kankakuji, the Himeji Castle, is something that does exist in the real world, and it's every chance I'll never get to go actually see it and touch it and see it for myself. But I can make a neat little model that's pretty representative of what it actually is, and that's really awesome. And I make that comment every now and then about something that I've built. The USS Missouri ship was a lot of fun to build. It's one of my favorite models that I have built. I will probably never actually go to see it unless some serious things change financially, and that'd be great. I'd love to travel and see more of the world. But I'll probably never see the Eiffel Tower. I'll probably never see the USS Missouri. But I can hold a replica of it. I can build it and look at it and hold it and understand it better. And it's just really cool. A really cool thing to be able to do. One of my favorite things about these Metal Earth models, and my favorite things about moving outside of the sci-fi comic book universe with things that are completely dreamed up and fake. That's cool. It's still a fake thing. It'll never exist in the real world unless somebody makes a replica of it. But these things that do exist, that are really cool, that everybody knows about, that I'll probably never get to see in person, I can still build a model of it, and it's fairly accurate, and it's really cool, and it's awesome. That drifted so far, I'm not even sure where I started with that. But while I have more of an interest now in architecture than I used to, I'm still limited, and there's still a lot of things I haven't done, and a lot of stuff above and beyond what Metal Earth has that I just haven't touched. So anyway, if you have some suggestions, and I know you do, if somebody out there does, please, please, please feel free. Leave them in the comments down below. The Metal Earth family is awesome. My viewers are awesome. I know you're not going to let me down. Share them. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you have to say. So maybe you can talk me into buying something else that I haven't built yet and put it on my stack to build one of these days. I swear to you, if I ever get hurt or injured or disabled where I am staying at home again, I have no problem staying entertained. I say that jokingly. But yeah, I'm working now. When I started this channel, I wasn't working. I was disabled, and I had a lot of time to build. Now I'm working. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to have gotten back on my feet. But boy, finding time to build stuff is really hard, and I hate it. But here we are. So thank you, everyone, for listening to me ramble this far. Please leave some responses down below, and we'll talk about them next time. But that's not all. There's one more thing I want to talk about. Because it is the beginning of another month. We are into July now, and I have to take a moment to thank my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel. It is very much appreciated. I do want to thank Chris Paskowitz, George Bale, Hugh Morrison, Jay, James Herring, Kaj Nielsen, Ken Crowan, Kendall Fargo, Laurent Palm, Mon Hong, Phil Miller, Seth Bell, Shalyn Moody, Timothy Green, and Timothy V. Thank you very much for another month of support. It is greatly appreciated. Because of supporters like you, my only excuse for not putting out more videos is lack of time. It's not because my technology broke. I talked about this somewhat recently in the past month or so. I had like 2 or 3 different computer issues show up at the same time. But because I get the help that I get, it wasn't out of pocket, or at least not completely, and I was able to just jump on and order new parts, fix the computer, and back up in action, and that's fantastic. And easily get models to build. I'm getting a lot closer to being finished with my latest model, or with the video for my latest model, which is the Space Shuttle launch kit. Loving having that. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for supporting this channel, supporting me, these videos, and this hobby. It is greatly appreciated. I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, there's a link at the end of this video. But there are other ways to support me. You can leave comments, questions, interact. That is greatly appreciated. Give me something to talk about, teach me something, help me help other people. It is all fantastic. P.O. Box, if there's something you want to send me. I almost forgot. I did get a bunch of models from someone recently, and I have not completely sorted through them all. But there are a lot of models. Most of them have been opened, but it looks like it's one of those open, look at, put it right back. It looks like all the parts are there, the instructions are there. There are 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 that no longer have the box or in Ziploc bags, but they appear to be complete. And I'm certainly going to look through all of them before I say for sure. There are a few that are unopened. They are mostly older models, but I'm going to have to do some sort of giveaway. I'm not going to hold on to all those. Definitely want to do some sort of giveaway to give them out to people so that they can enjoy them rather than sitting in a box over here when I've already built them and already made a video. But something else in the works in the future. I apologize. I had looked the name up, saved it somewhere, forgot where I saved it. It's easy to find again. Thank you, Denise, Daniel, for sending me this rather large package of models. It is greatly appreciated. I am very sorry that you're not able to build the models anymore. I greatly appreciate the donation of models. We're going to have to do some sort of giveaway in the future, bearing in mind that many of these models are open, but apparently still buildable. Going to check that out before I do anything else, before I do a giveaway, to make sure, or at least make sure the status of them before I offer them out. But thank you very much for that donation. That was fantastic. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you to everyone that interacts. Thank you to anyone that sent me anything. It is greatly appreciated. It's, you know, even if you've sent me something I haven't built it yet, it's here. I've got a drawer behind me with models in it. I'm going to build it eventually. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And as always, keep on keeping on.